The Holocaust, the genocide of 6 million European Jews during World War II, is one of the first lessons you learn in grade school. We learned about how people were ripped apart from their families and forced onto trains. Being raised Jewish, I always felt a strong connection to this historical moment in time. My roommate Sarah and I woke up in Rome at 4 o'clock in the morning and dragged our bags down our street, Vicolo dei Cinque. As we arrived at the airport, we made our way through security and we were off. The flight was only an hour and a half, which was a convenience of studying abroad in Rome rather than other cities. We touched down in Krakow, Poland to embark on what would be our historical and learning experience of the semester. It marked a step away from the beauty of other European cities to pay homage to our roots. When we settled into our hostel, we quickly went to sleep so we could prepare for the next day ahead. The next morning we awoke to start the tour of Auschwitz. The concentration camps were in a desolate location because the activity that was going on in the 1940s was a secret to the rest of the world. They took us into the main entrance where we gathered as a group. We looked up to find Arbeit macht frei, or work liberates. When we walked through the front gates of the camp, it was like we went into a time machine and walked into the 1940s. Everything was exactly the way it was left when the camps were liberated. Once inside, we turned around to face the unexplainable. We were locked in, and a barbed wire fence was the only layer to separate us from the free world. Auschwitz is designed into a museum, so each bunk unfolded a little more information about the war. We learned about the events leading up to the war. Hundreds of cities in Europe were bombarded, and Jews were taken from all areas of the continent to work in Auschwitz. We were able to see pictures of the Jews being displaced from their homes and forced into camps. We were able to see the empty barrels of Zyklon B that was used inside of the gas chambers. It was explained that this was an effective way to kill the Jews because one can of Zyklon B can kill up to 2,000 people at one time. Then we were able to connect with the reality by seeing all of the possessions, glasses, suitcases, and worst of all, we were not allowed to take pictures in this room, was hair. When we walked into the room, there was a glass window with 2 tons of human hair piled for the ceiling. They used to shave the prisoners' hair off and use it to make blankets. The smell of the hair was overbearing, and it was hard to know that each strand of hair belonged to our ancestors. Over 4,000 pounds of hair. We saw the sleeping conditions, which consisted of straw on the cold cement floor and bunk beds that held 5 people per bed. We were also taken into the only gas chamber that remained standing in Auschwitz. It was scary to know that we stood where millions of people were gassed and then cremated into the ovens. At the end of the day, we loaded the bus and pulled out of Auschwitz, leaving the emotional events of the day behind. My experience at the concentration camps was powerful, filled with the reality of the hard conditions that the Jews endured during the Holocaust, something I was able to see for myself after learning about for so many years.